We are in it to win it. In it to win it. Gosh darn it. Gridiron 360. We are bringing you updates from the NFL. We just ripped through conference or division by division, the NFC conference. Now we move on to the AFC. We will start in the same directional, we'll go in the same directional order that we did the NFC, and except on the AFC side. So we are starting with the AFC East. The New England Patriots, the Miami Dolphins, the New York Jets, and the Buffalo Bills. Again, these are updates in this division as of about a week ago, the 19th. It is the 26th of March. So let's get right into it. Bill and Dave, Gridiron 360. Let's hit it up, brother.
All right.
Miami on the 19th re-signs safety Adrian Colbert to a one-year deal worth just under $2 million.
Got to imagine that's probably their backup there without going. I should probably know their starting lineup before I start chatting.
Yeah, you should. You should.
But I got to say, I like it. You know, you got secondary, even though I think they did what I would have maybe waited a little bit on they went for the full glory in free agency. Remember, they got corners right now in Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. So they got good there on the corners, man. So I like it. So
yeah,
their safety probably is going to be, or their secondary is going to be pretty solid, I think.
Right now, the depth chart shows Xavier Howard at the left corner, Byron Jones at the right corner. And just a tidbit, our lads, ORULADS.com is where we go for our depth charts. There's a lot out there. They have Cordrea Tankersley behind Xavier Howard and at left corner. You have Eric Rowe as your strong safety. I don't know if he is. He might have went to New England. I'm not sure. But I don't show... Colbert is listed as a free safety, and they've got Adrian Colbert also listed in front of him. I think he might have went to Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. I'll check it out, but I think he went to Seattle, so there is a need. There's not a lot of depth at safety for him. This is a guy, obviously, they're re-signing him. It's just a one-year deal, but a guy that already is familiar with the system and the guys around him. Comfort factor, maybe. I don't know. We already mentioned the Patriots tagging offensive guard Joe Thuney on the 19th. That franchise tender was officially signed. So just a little tidbit there. Also on the 19th, the Patriots signed safety Adrian Phillips to a 2-year deal. 2-year deal.
Okay.
Now, we know they have several guys, especially in their secondary, that have been marked as free agents, so I don't know what's going to happen.
New England is going to be the big mystery because, obviously, they lost a lot in Tom Brady. They were thin at other positions. You saw some of their free agents like Jamie Collins. They traded, Deron Howard over to Detroit, too, as well. So some New England players have shifted. I think the question is, everybody believes Bill Belichick's a very smart football mind, and everybody's kind of waiting to see when's the plan going to start to unfold. So I think New England, and we're trying to see, is they going to treat this like a rebuild? They are going to be flush with compensation picks, which usually they're drafting 11 times a year.
Yep.
So, this is going to be kind of interesting, and and it's going to be Belichick guys. If you know one thing, I go back to that coaching tree. Bill Parcells, there were Parcells guys. There were guys that could never play for him. Keyshawn, what do you call him? Mrs. Johnson. But then there are guys like Dave Meggett that followed him around the world. Belichick, coming from that coaching tree, is the same way. Guys love to go play for him. We talked kind of an example of Tom Brady going to Tampa and Ndamukong Suh probably taking a little bit less money to play. New England still has that air about him, but I think everybody wants to see what they're going to do. So this is probably one of those deals that, is him keeping the shelf the way he wants to keep it for his master plan.
The master plan. Are they going to be tanking for Trevor? I could never see Belichick doing that, or even if so, admitting it freely. All right, let's move on.
I could see Belichick doing just about anything.
All right. Well, that says you. I think he's smarter than that, but I just can't see him doing a tank job or going along with something like that. Didn't see much happen on the 20th of March. On the 21st, we see the New York Jets cutting former starting cornerback Darryl Roberts, and this will save them $6 million in cap space. They've been a little bit active in the free agency market, so giving themselves more room to be active.
Okay.
Also on this date, the Jets signed guard Greg Van Roten. It's a 3-year deal. Comes from Carolina. As far as the depth chart goes, I see him slotted as a right tackle behind starter Chuma Edoga. But they do also have, they lost Connor McGovern, their center. They brought in Connor McGovern, their center, and they lost left tackle George Fant. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they are planning on slipping him somewhere else in the left tackle position. I don't know, or moving their right tackle over. We'll have to see. It's the Jets, man. So mired in mediocrity or less.
Yeah, they are the JETS, Jets. Maybe we change that to WTF, the Jets.
We'll see. All right, let's move on. 22nd, the Jets again involved in free agency as they signed cornerback Pierre Desir, who it happened like a day, literally like the day of or the day after that Indianapolis cut him. Young guy, I think he's a fast dude. His coverage skills are okay. Also on this date, the Patriots now moving on from Mr. Tom Brady, pick up another person that they formerly had that went to Indianapolis. They now bring him back, and that is quarterback Brian Hoyer. Hoyer. Nothing there, huh? Okay.
Well, I'm going to tell you, let's think about the few times that Brady's been out. Belichick. Let's think about what he's done with some of these quarterbacks. And Brian Hoyer, this is his third stint with him, so he's a guy that understands the offense. I remember Brian Hoyer played a year with the Bears. I think Cutler went down, and he played some, and he played okay. Again, I'm not in any way saying this is a long-term answer, but he does understand his system. And if you think about it, I got some names. You think about Matt Castle. Flip that around for a song, right? Got a good deal on him, trading him out, and he, started 1 year and then slowly declined, but got value there, but made Matt Castle. I mean, remember, they went to the playoffs with him, and that was the year when Brady got nuked. I think it was against Buffalo early. That was his biggest long-term injury. We've also seen things like Jacoby Brissett come in, Hoyer come in, for that matter. But Jacoby Brissett, look what he's doing. He went and got a starting gig out in Indianapolis. I know that's changed a little bit, but my point is,
you're missing a guy.
I mean, they got Garoppolo, and
there you go,
and
Jimmy Grape,
and he didn't play at all. And here he's playing in the Super Bowl.
Then gets a huge contract to go be the starter in San Fran, and they go to Super Bowl.
Yeah. So here's my point of this: is he does enough with these guys to let you see them. And I mean, Garoppolo, even though he got nuked in that game, I think that's when Brissett started playing because he played only a couple. It was during that 4-game suspension. But my point is, he got those guys to play well for him, and well enough that other teams wanted these guys, which is pretty impressive out of backup. So this might say more than what I think it is. Belichick can get a lot out of guys. I can't deny it. So, initial reaction is the Patriots are done. They're cooked. I just can't ever go there until I see it.
Yeah, it's great coach, man. I don't care what you say. So we'll see what happens. But I just said it before. I really, I think we said it in one of the New England casts. Are they going to be the tanking for Trevor T? I can't. Nah, I just can't see it. I can't never see that.
Yeah, I'll admit I agree. I think there's a bridge plan, could be the possibility. Like, maybe not, there still are names out there like Cam Newton, Jameis Winston, and certainly Andy Dalton. They've been looking to trade potentially, even though Cincinnati's now said they may keep him if they can't get a trade partner. So we'll see. We'll see how it unfolds.
Yep. All right. So where was I? We were on the
23rd, I believe.
We were on the 23rd. So New England, again active, but cutting.
Wait, didn't you say that they lost McGovern?
Yeah,
The Jets?
they brought him in, didn't they?
Oh, they brought him in. I thought
Nope.
you said you lost him. Okay, go ahead.
McGovern went to Denver, I thought.
No, it says he signs a 3-year deal with the
Okay.
Jets. And then they got Josh Andrews.
And
is
then
one they're
Detroit, they
signing.
Denver brought in the dude from Detroit is what they did at
Yep.
line once they lost McGovern.
Yep.
Maybe that was Finney. I can't remember. Let's see. Let's move on. Moving on. Fumbling, bumbling, stumbling. I think we got it right. Let's see. The 23rd, the Patriots release kicker, Steven Gostkowski. Yeah, I mean,
That's
he was
interesting.
banged up last year, but, this is a guy that's pretty good kicker. I
am surprised, given how bad the kicking was, that I haven't heard more chatter just about, not necessarily him being signed, but chatter about some teams looking at him. Haven't seen a lot. I've been kind of checking in on that, only because, again, I would say, okay, it's a kicker. It wasn't shocking 5 years ago to see a kicker go on the market and kind of have to wait a while, even the good kickers. But just given how bad some of the kicking was in the NFL last year, he was pretty rock solid for a while there. But anyway, we'll keep going.
I mean, here's, what are they? I'm looking at their depth chart, and I don't know who their kicker is.
They may not have one at this moment.
I don't see one.
But you never know. Like, there's practice squads, there's XFL stuff.
Yeah.
Kicker is not generally, oh my God, let's all freak
No,
out
but-
until your kicker sucks.
That's right. That's right. Until it comes down to the misheard around the world.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Jets on the 23rd re-upped linebacker Jordan Jenkins.
Yep.
Okay. Moving to the 24th, the Jets also bring in wide receiver Brashad Perriman.
Important. Remember, they didn't already have an elite level receiving core. Then Robbie Anderson goes. Jamison Crowder was really their best receiver for most of the season last year. So, they still have him, I believe, right? That wasn't a one-year deal. I think he's still on the roster. So, I mean, we're going to have to see what they do. Maybe they're in line to try to pick up a receiver in the draft, but they do have to fill out that room. And Perriman, again, you got to remember who he's playing behind. He played behind probably the best tandem wide receivers in the NFL. I mean, Godwin and Evans put up huge numbers last year. So maybe is there some emergence that was stifled a bit by how good that receiving core was, and also the fact that Jameis Winston half the time threw the ball to the other team. So you got those things.
But when he saw the field, whether it be, Evans, I think, went out with a little injury a few games. Same with Godwin throughout the year. And, he was effective.
Yep.
I'll be honest. He was the most effective he's been since he's been in the NFL. When he was brought into the NFL, where did he go? Was he drafted by Baltimore? I can't remember, but he's a guy that I think a lot more was expected of Perriman, and he was, despite,
he was,
Jameis-
Baltimore did a year
yeah.
in Cleveland, then a year in Tampa.
Yep.
So
I think he
yep.
had probably his best year to date, even though he wasn't necessarily, a full-time starter with Tampa Bay. Now
He did. He did.
Now
he had 33 receptions for 499 yards in Baltimore his first year, and then regressed significantly, 10 catches, 16 catches, but then got back to 36 with 645 yards. And again, that's playing the third fiddle on that offense.
And now you got Tom Brady.
Yep. No, he's gone. They don't have Tom. Well, they have Tom Brady, but he's for the Jets.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's right. He's with the Jets. I don't know. I think Tampa Bay's on
Too much movement.
Sorry, that happens. All right, last piece I have for the AFC East on the 25th, the Jets again. They signed linebacker Patrick Onwuasor to a one-year deal. Onwuasor?
Patrick O.
Patrick O.
I got to tell you, we were knocking the Jets a little bit, and that's part of that is my listening to New York Jets sports radio for the 6 years I was up in New Jersey. The funny part about the Jets is I've never heard a home fan base just be so beat down by failure, and they're not rude fans. You have to understand they're already second fiddle to the Giants in New York, so they got that against them. And I had a guy that worked for me that was a massive, massive Jets fan. Screamed, sign Tim Tebow when he wasn't getting a job in the NFL. Just they were looking for anything. I like the fact that they went out. Now, it remains to be seen how well they play together and they gel, but they've gone out and gotten 5 offensive linemen. So they're trying to figure out a solution. And remember, they just signed Le'Veon Bell. So this was a team that couldn't get Le'Veon Bell going. So maybe this is really, even though they're not sexy, maybe this is what elevates them and makes them a competitor. And again, while I still think Buffalo is the front runner in this division now with Tom Brady gone.
And that's the one team that we didn't mention at all in this update.
Yeah, but there's a reason why for that. I think because they're in a good position. It's a time where the Jets, if they can get better, this is the time to do something. And so I like what they're doing. I mean, we dog them as a team, but I do like that look. I think they got to do some work on defense. Sign Brian Poole, so they got a corner out there who's solid. And they're signing their linebackers. They brought back Jordan Jenkins. I think they got to get some splash players on the D line. Remember, this is a D line that is they went and did D tackle like 4 years in a row. And every one of those guys, one after the other, got disgruntled and left, including the last one was Leonard Williams going to the Giants. Didn't have to move, but had to go to a different locker room at times. It's just I give them a little bit of credit there, and this is kind of they're gonna have to pick pieces up as they kind of go along in the process. So I gotta say I don't know how much more they could have done. No. They got Sam Darnold that they got to figure out.
They're
is this the guy?
trying to protect him, obviously, by bringing in the linemen they have. And in terms of their depth chart, it looks like they have some solid front guys in terms of their starters, as well as second and third guys depth wise on the defense.
Yep.
Just all pretty much across the board. Don't forget, they have, I think, one of the best safeties, maybe the best strong safety in the game, in Jamal Adams.
And they got Marcus May. Is that their other safety? I believe.
Yep,
And he's a really talented safety too. So I think this is. There's some stuff to build around, on this. And, the question is going to always be, which it is with every team, do you have the right quarterback once you start building all these pieces? And unfortunately, teams are losing.
It's also, do you have the right coach?
Yes. Adam Gase is, in my opinion, not the right guy. But
if you coordinator, that's a good coordinator, but not a good head coach. We had this conversation a lot.
Well, I think Miami answered that question after 1 year, right?
I agree. But that's the AFC East, man. I mean, again, the one team that we didn't mention in this update, though they did some things early on in free agency with the Bills, but the Bills are the team that, in our estimation, are the ones to take the biggest jump in this division. They have the opportunity to get a stranglehold on this division. And when we talked about the Bills, and specifically in free agency, could this be a team to grab hold of this division and just own it like the Patriots did? Maybe not for as long, but for several years to come.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it depends on, can the Jets get involved? I gotta admit, Miami's going to take a step forward this year, no matter what. And if they end up with Tua, and remember they got 2 other draft picks in the first round, that's a team that could make a quick jump too as well. So
the Jets are at 11 in the first round, so they could get a solid piece for their
receiver,
wide receiver.
Yeah.
You're bound to get maybe a Judy or a Lamb or a Ruggs. Those guys.
Yeah,
one of those guys will be there. Yeah. One of those 3.
Yeah, this division is interesting to talk about because all of a sudden, this was always an afterthought for everybody for years, and it never proved us wrong, really. And now it's not. There's excitement in that division, and there's some movement amongst these teams and potential movement that's going to be kind of interesting. And what I guess I would say is I don't know there's going to be a bad team in the division. I think you're probably worst team, and part of it's going to be playing against the other teams. Might be 6-10, which this is a division that is, for a lot of times, put a top 5 draft pick in every year.
Yeah. So, listen, that's going to wrap the AFC East. There's not a lot, but some interesting stuff, and use the quote-unquote phrase reading the tea leaves. Maybe we can see potentially what some of these folks are going to do in the draft, or what that vision is going to be. You start to be able to make your own opinions, especially if you're a big fan of one of these teams. We will Slice and dice. This is the East, so we move next to the AFC South, which there is really not. That's happening last week, so that one will be short. But we'll knock that out for you here in a moment, and we'll see you next time
On the gridiron.
See you.